Great evening, great evening, great evening. Welcome to Gravity Talks. I'm your host, Vicki Yelverton, the proud CEO of Yelverton's Enrichment Services, a family-owned business where we've been providing mental health supports to the community for over 15 years, and I'm excited to be here tonight.
Hello, hello, hello. I am Natasha Lewis. I'm also your host, and I am pastor of Temple of Deliverance Church. I'm a entrepreneur, business owner, and I'm also working in the mental health field, and I'm super excited about entertainment tonight.
Yes, so as Natasha just mentioned, we have our guest with us tonight. We're featuring Gravity Talks, mental health and entertainment, promoting through the pandemic. So we got the experts here at the table tonight. They want to share some nuggets about what they've been experiencing in the entertainment industry, along with, kind of what got them into the business. But in regards to the correlation between mental health and entertainment, again, we just want to make sure that we share that mental health seems to have some type of stigma associated with it, which it shouldn't. And we want to remind everyone that, taking care of your mental health, your mental wellness is just like taking care of your physical health. The same way you go to the gym is the same way you need to do some self-care to exercise your mind and keep your emotional well-being at bay. And oftentimes, sometimes if things do get out of track, and that's when it may spiral to mental illness, it's okay. There are supports and resources available to you. So tonight, again, we're going to talk about the correlation between entertainment and mental health, and we're going to let the promoters kind of share with us their thoughts about the correlation between the two. So without further ado, let's start with Mr. King Fame. Let's see. Mr. Fame, tell the people a little bit about who you are and what you do.
How you doing? I'm King Fame. I'm a recording artist, also a promoter and entrepreneur. I really got into the promotion game because when I first started doing music and I was trying to get shows, a lot of promoters were trying to charge me to, get on stage and to be able to do my thing. And me being entrepreneurial minded, was thinking about the best way for me kind of to make it all make sense for myself. So it led me to doing what James Brown did and start trying to throw my own shows, put myself in position to make the money off the door while still promoting my talent at the same time, which kind of led to me growing in the promotion industry and building a name for myself also in the promotion industry, as well as being a recording artist.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Okay. So let's see, Mr. Brian, tell the people a little bit about who you are and what you do.
My name is Brian Dickens, and I'm the president and CEO of BED Management, where I represent national recording artists from a booking perspective to a management consulting perspective, as well as I'm a real estate investor, all-around mover and shaker.
Oh, wow. I like that. All-around mover and shaker. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you for being with us tonight. All right. And let's see, Mr. Suleiman, tell the people a little bit about who you are and what you do.
What do I do? In the entertainment field, I manage and operate a venue in downtown Detroit called the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater, formerly known as Shane Park. Been blessed to operate in that venue for 17 years now. Down here in North Carolina, we own the Art of Cool Festival. We've been the urban promoter of record for the DPAC since it opened almost 11 years ago. Time flies. We book lots of talent, not just locally, but nationally. So been in the business for a long time.
All right. Well, again, thank you, Sue, for being with us tonight. So a lot of experience, a lot of experience in the field on tonight's webcast. And so I know we want to just jump right in. So let's kind of connect the dots for the people, because I know they want to understand, again, the correlation between mental health and entertainment. So in your own words, just briefly, kind of share your connection to mental health, or whether it be personal or professional, or even through a family member. If you don't mind sharing, share with us a little bit about your thoughts about that. So let's see. Let's start with you, Mr. Brian.
My pleasure. I would say, being that I have been an individual in the entertainment industry for over 32 years, I have seen vast amounts of individuals that have dealt with acute mental illness to aggressive mental illness, and as well as family members of mine, immediate family, have dealt with the same situation. Nothing to be ashamed of, no stranger to any of this. And then when you deal with extremely creative people, that is something that I've noticed, to find that a lot of really gifted people deal with anything from bipolar, multiple personalities. It's sort of like to shoot from the hip and say, like, you can't have the gift and the talent and have everything. So something has to be somewhat of a semi-imbalance. Nothing wrong with it, because sometimes when you deal with people that are extremely creative, all the drawers are open at one time, and you need something to help you relax, get away from hearing the voices, hearing the music, because you'll find a lot of people that are in the entertainment industry, you really can only hold their interest for about 5 to 10 minutes before they start drifting away. So you can't overload them with too much information. So I've been able to personally be, as late as with this COVID situation, be an individual that have been able to call on therapists to help me to understand some things and have a different way of thinking, because I have always been a mover and a shaker. And then when this unfortunate pandemic situation hit, I was like in a panic mode, overthinking, experiencing an emotional roller coaster with anxiety, depression, like what's going on? I'm the person that always had the answers, but I needed to go seek the professionals to help give me some direction on how to channel through this, how not to become overwhelmed, because like the Mousy family, Suleiman that's on the call, we're not idle. We are used to juggling 5 to 10 things all day, every day. So this new normal that we're dealing with has been a wake-up call, not only for me, but other individuals that are in the entertainment industry, whether they're gospel, R&B, hip hop. This pandemic has been somewhat of a blessing and a curse, because I think it's a reset to make us go back and think how to appreciate some things that we just automatically took for granted every day. And it's opportunities like this to help bring you back in line, not just with yourself, but with God. And this has been the only thing that has been able to help me get through, is my spiritual connection and my professional individuals that know how to advise and break down the cycles in the channel to help me to say, this is what you need to do. You need to take a little time, relax, reflect, and meditate, because I was getting ready to run myself crazy. No less than kids. Yes, so that's my connection, and I'm not ashamed to say I am in therapy daily.
I know
And
that's.
I also have a prescription to help slow down some of the anxiety and the paranoid thoughts, because I'm a critical, analytical thinker, because my production, access, and availability and response not only affects my income, but my clients' income as well. And for a lot of artists that have never monitored money, are now consciously thinking, is this sensible? Do I need 25, 30 people on the road with me? Do I need to buy another chain? Do I need to buy this? So it's been a great, gracious wake-up call.
Wow. Well, all of that was real. And I love, you dropped a whole lot of nugget of information that I know we're going to continue to talk about throughout today, because you're right. I think prior to that, we were just ripping and running. And just like you said, you was used to having 4, 5, 10 projects going at one time. Yes. And then all of a sudden the pandemic made you just stop. Like, yes. And it's like, what do you do with that time? It's like, what did it say? Idle mind could be the devil's workshop. Natasha, I know you probably get me right on that. But sometimes, a lot of time is not good for everybody.
Right.
We're used to having that time to be able to relax, relate, release. So you're right. We had to redirect that energy And you're right, like you said, you sought some help so you could help kind of navigate and channel that energy in a different way.
Right. Because no one had any warning or preparation that this was going to happen. And unfortunately, the entertainment industry has drastically been affected by this unfortunate pandemic. When have we ever known in the 21st century that we will be facing a financial crisis and a health crisis simultaneously with no end in sight? And then, unfortunately, for people that are in an entertainment industry, you can't realistically, futuristically plan because there's no rhyme or reason. Venues are only at less than half capacity. So it's really unique. But I'm not going to take up all the time because we have some experts on here that need to chime in as well.
Well,
I do. Wait, hold on. I want to ask Brian one more question just before we go. So Brian, you started therapy. Do you think that after things kind of get back, or we create a new normal? Because I don't think what we're in is a new normal, but I know it's gonna get better.
Yes.
Do you think that you'll continue therapy? Do you feel like it's?
I do, because I'm gonna tell you, I'm a Scorpio, so I'm not a lackluster person. When I commit, I commit. And when I talked to a therapist and he said, you should really consider taking a low anxiety prescription, I was like, I don't need that. I'm not that bad. He said, trust me, I have the degrees, you listen. And he had to really manhandle me. And he said, I'm going to tell you, it's going to take you about 3 weeks for it to get into your system. Because again, I'm a critical thinker. I'm a very analytical kind of person, very big on making my own way. I've never in my life been idle with minimal income coming in to no income. This was a wake-up call. So my thing was panic, overthink, and my clients, they would call panicking and I have to talk them off the ledge while I need somebody to talk me off the ledge. So I can be strong for them, but I had to be transparent and listen, we've never been prepared for this. We've never been forced for this. And I'm integral. When I deal with a lot of churches, I deal with a lot of R&B promoters as well, and R&B clients as well. But when you take the money from a client, it's a fine line between integrity and not integrity, because contracts are structured to where if a natural act of God happens, then the client per se will get the money back. The flip side of this is a pandemic is not a natural act of God. This is a viral situation. So if you don't have pandemic insurance on your rider or your events insurance, the insurance company is not going to cover you. So quite naturally, you can't refund the money, or the money's not coming back, because a pandemic is not a natural act of God. So you have people calling, they need the money back. The artists need to keep the money so they can live. So this just became a snowball effect into a lot of this situation. So long story short, yes, I will be committed to doing therapy. And if it means that I have to still take the low dose anxiety medication, I will take it like they're Tic Tacs, because it really has helped my brain not to fire off so many signals, because I can admit myself, I am a hypochondriac because I worry about other people as well as myself. So it's not just about me, it's about us. So yes, I will be committed. I'm committed.
So right there, because you help bridge the gap, and that's exactly why we thought this would be a pertinent show. So Layman, what are your thoughts about what Brian shared? Or first, let's start off with, what is your connection to mental health, whether it be personal or professional?
Well, my connection with mental health, I've had people in my family suffer from mental health issues, and it's not always a pretty sight. It takes a special human being to be able to deal with people going through that type of trauma, So I applaud you guys and the work that you do. It's almost like a teacher. I couldn't do it, You have to have a certain, you can't do it for the money. To deal with that type of thing, you have to actually do it from the heart. Then I'm sure the money will come. But I don't know if it's something that I could do to deal with that on a daily basis and deal with other people's issues like that. Because that truly is a gift, in my opinion. And the same thing, I've been knowing Brian, we've been knowing each other for years, and, very humble man, you know what I'm saying? But he's done some major, major things and has blessed my family. So it's good to hear him get the help that he felt that he needed, because what he said is absolutely correct. It's what happened in our industry during the pandemic it rocked it to its core. It
Mhm.
exposed a lot of things. You know, 6 months not enough money to catch to hold for all your bills and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Oops, who knew? You know what I'm saying? You go from generating, you know, lots of money in revenue to absolutely zero coming in the door. And like one of the things that he said when it comes to artists and their contracts and this, that, and other, the one thing that's important in this business, I'm sure in every other business, is making sure that your word is good, because the money can go. We've always known that. We never knew it would go to this extent and the changes that are coming. But, you know, you have artist contracts and nobody was prepared for it. One of the blessings about it all is everybody's going through it. So everybody has to be flexible. I haven't had not one artist, you know, I got 20 shows on 2020 that didn't play. And everybody already knows that, you know, and have agreed on their word. And I haven't got the contracts in yet, because we have to wait for the venue capacities to know what we can actually afford to pay. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I know you was expecting XYZ, but that may not be the reality of what we're opening back up to. And then we don't know how comfortable people are going to be, you know, how people are going to feel as far as comfort levels coming back out. Because I deal with mostly older shows, you know, saying 30, 35 to 55, 65. You know, are those people going to feel comfortable sitting in a crowd with 3,000 people? Do I try to do an Article Festival again this year? Do I wait till 2022? You know, what's it going to be? We just don't know. But what we do know is with the artists that we've dealt with for years and the agencies is everybody's falling back. We'll see what happens. Let's put it on the books. And yeah, we know what's on this paper, but they don't have interest in seeing me put out of business because I generate business for them. So once I got through that level of stress, and then dealing with, because I have thousands and thousands and thousands of tickets I've already sold in Detroit, and I got to tell these people, I got to get you got to see this same show play next year. I can't get not a big pot of gold just sitting there. You know what I'm saying? Because I done sent money over there. That money's gonna go there. You know what I'm saying? It's just like most business. That those revenues are calculated before you even bought the ticket, let alone the person. You know what I'm saying? So there's a whole full market reset that's going on, and I think that is going to be one of the good things to come out of it. Is that people are going to have to, just on the business end, those numbers are going to have to drop off the board. You know. From hotels to, you know, the artists were getting paid a premium of the overall pie, and they're gonna have to be flexible, you know, because they have to keep their people working. So we all have to get on the phone with Brian, like, hey, I'm not gonna call no names, but you know, like, hey, Brian, like, look, bro, you already know, yeah, I know. And we go have a conversation and we'll figure it out. As long as we're working it out together, it releases, I believe, the stress. And once you take, at least for myself, once I had to take that pressure off of my shoulders and just realize every month, like, oh shit, oh, I'm sorry. This really is not coming back anytime soon. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's going to be a minute.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, nothing I can do. You know, I haven't owed anybody personally in over 10 years, you know, 700, 800 credit score. All that's going out the window. Like, oh, well, so, you know what I'm saying? We'll figure it out. You know?
That's real. That's the impact. That's one of the impacts or industries that the pandemic has impacted. Like y'all sharing, you know, how do you think differently? How can we spin this thing a different way to still kind of meet that same need and meet that same niche, but it's different. I mean, it's a face-to-face contact type of environment that now you got to look at how do you host these virtual shows, you know, which we'll talk about that in a minute. But King Fame, what are your thoughts about what the other two gentlemen shared as far as, you know, first share with us your connection to mental health, whether it be personal or professional, but also too, the stress, they shared about the stress, the anxiety, everything associated that since that pandemic hit, it caused them to have to think and shift their gears differently. What about your story?
As well as myself, can you hear me? Because it says
we hear you.
All right, no problem. I, as well as a personal friend of mine, both suffer from bipolar disorder and different like capacities. I suffer more from bipolar depression. I have had manic attacks in the past if I've gotten too ramped up before, where I've been overwhelmed by, like they say, 10 or 15 projects going at a time, and then you're having all these people calling you, all the stress. I'll give you a perfect example. Suleiman remembers this, but when Gucci Mane first came home, I was responsible for kind of routing his tour, like 4 or 5 dates of his tour, and one of the shows, people for some reason seemed not to be on one page, and we had like 30 minutes to get the insurance in before the venue canceled the entire thing. 30. So you're talking about $100,000 for this artist, the venue, the deposit's already been in, all of these things going on. I got 5 other people calling me about different things at one time. And then I can't get the people on the phone whose responsibility it was to handle the insurance. And they're telling us in 30 minutes, if you don't get this done, you're going to lose, you know what I'm saying, the whole show. And so, that's just one of the things. Also, like I said, with me being a creative also, a lot of times there's a reason why there aren't a lot of artists that are extremely successful in business and music at the same time. Because those are 2 completely different sides of the brain. So when I'm in a creative mode and I have a stream of consciousness creatively that has me kind of in one of those zones, I'm kind of blocked out business-wise. And I kind of get into my own modes. And sometimes when I get overwhelmed by, too many things at one time, I have to shut down to a point to where I have to block everybody out and I have to kind of recharge. I suffer from social anxiety, and it's funny to be an artist and also suffer from social anxiety at the same time, because nobody really understands how overwhelming that is, how energy draining it is. And a lot of times people think I'm being funny. They think, oh, you don't come across as somebody that has social anxiety, because they don't, like you said, the stigmas, they don't understand what that really looks like in real time. But they don't realize the energy that it may take for me to prepare to go out to deal with people. And then it may take me, if we have a major event like Suleimano's doing major events, and we have an event where it may be 2,000-3,000 people, it may take me 2 or 3 days to recharge.
Wow.
You feel me? To where like I completely decompress and take me 2 or 3 days to recharge. And so one of the things with me is I had kind of worked my way into a position for a certain amount of time coming up into the industry to try to get to a certain point. Like Suleiman, Brian are obviously very established promoters and business people. So that's one dynamic of it. But imagine what the effects it has on you mentally, where you've worked your whole career to get to a certain point to where you're starting to elevate into a certain level as a promoter. And that for me was CIAA this year.
Wow.
CIAA this year, and you got to think about something timing-wise. That was right after CIAA, everything shut down the next week.
Yeah.
So you have to think about something. I'm sitting in these huge parties and these guys know some of these promoters because, they're in the industry. I'm in there with headliner marketing, keep promotion, finally work my way into a position to get ready to do business with some of the biggest urban promoters in the country. And we're planning the Kentucky Derby in real time. We're planning some of these things together that we're getting ready to put. It's going to take me and transcend me into a whole nother level as a promoter that I've worked 20 years.
Wow.
I started my first production company at 18 years old. I'm 38. So for me to work 20 years to get to this point, be at my highest high for CIAA to say, yo, we had 6 artists in one weekend. You know what I'm saying? We have some of the biggest club events that you've seen. I'm connecting with these people. I'm getting ready to expand myself as a promoter. And we're planning all these major events, and it's getting ready to transition me into a level that I've worked my whole life for, to turn around in the next week for this pandemic to hit. And like the first month, you're like, all right, well, it's not going to be that bad. Then the second month is this, and the third month. So now some of the guys that I was building momentum with, and we're getting ready to try to connect some dots and kind of change the culture for how we're going to move collectively. Mm-hmm. Now it turns into all that momentum lost.
Wow.
And so the mental effect it has on somebody like myself that, like I said, had worked from 20 years to try to get to a certain point as a promoter to where I'm looking like I'm finally getting ready to consistently transition. Yeah, I've had events where we did 3,500 in Cleveland or 2,000 people in Winston or something like that, to the point where like, yeah.
Uh-oh, your sound went out.
I said, I'm sorry. I thought I put it on Do Not Disturb. But you know, getting to that point where I've had these events hit or miss, but now I was getting to the point where I could transition completely into another level as a promoter. And then that hits right at COVID, to where now it's like I have to mentally prepare myself to like, okay, I'm on standby now.
Right.
I'm on standby. You feel me? I don't know when it's going to happen again. And something also that you have to take into consideration, you worked your entire life for. You get to a certain point and you worked your entire life to get to a certain level, and the entire industry as you've known it and everything that you believe from childhood to this point changes overnight.
Right. Just like that.
You know what I mean? So, like I said, I don't want to get too long-winded, but you know, I have a different vantage point from Brian and Suleiman because, like I said, they're established to a certain level.
They blowing your phone up. I knew it was going to
Do Not Disturb when you told me to.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it's not blocking it. But, you know, Suleiman and Brian had gotten to the point to where they established a certain point. But I'm speaking from a perspective of they know how hard it is to transition to that level, from one level to getting to that point. I know Suleiman, remember probably his first 2,000-seater. You feel me? Or something like when you were first starting to get to that point where you were, I know, you know, they kind of maybe jaded now because they're veterans in the game. You feel me? But when you first start to transition to another level as a promoter and to finally be getting to that point and then everything fall apart for you, like, and out of your control, I'm a person like Brian is, to where everybody comes to me for the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody comes to me. Fame will figure it out. You feel me? I'm a strategic thinker. A lot of people don't understand the difference between marketing and promotion. I'm better at marketing and promotion. I know how to strategize something to a T. And so now for me to be that much of a control freak and have to do things in concert for them to work in conjunction with everything, to now you can't plan and put things in concert, it kind of like when you lose that control, it's like you almost don't know what to do with yourself.
So right there, that's a good segue, because I think one of the common threads is not necessarily the sense of control, like a control, somebody who wants to control people. It's more so you all were about y'all's business and had a system going. So it was kind of like you knew how to make, you had the formula, you knew how many people to bring, you knew who to bring, you know how many people was going to sell, you knew how to pump it out, and you knew at the end of the day it was going to return this. And you take that away, and it's like, hold up, it kind of gets you off balance. But also, too, one of the common threads is promoting entertainment don't offer no sick days or no paid time off or no, you know, unless you had a nest egg sitting there, you know, like Suleiman was transparent and saying, you have 700-800 credit score, and now that's out the window because you have to kind of front up to cover some of this other stuff that's been put out there.
Too high. You know what I'm saying? I put too much stuff on the credit card and go over that 33%.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But you know, but that's the thing. You all had to get creative in how to sustain. And so you're in survival mode right now, survival of the fittest. And one thing I will say is that I appreciate y'all being transparent, all three of you Black Kings, because you don't have to share this with us, but you are. And this is a turning point that people need to hear, that even at the Fame level, they see y'all on these flyers, they see like the gold chains like Fame got on, you know, they see y'all in these nice houses and stuff. They thinking, oh, they straight. But it's like, no, this is what's really going on and how it impacts us. Yet y'all are the gatekeeper to the celebrity. So it's a domino effect. If y'all impacted, we already know what the celebs dealing with. And like Brian said, King said, Suleiman, they turn into y'all like, yo, what y'all think I should do? What, you know, is there any work out here? What's going on? Y'all getting any calls? What's up? Because it's a domino effect. It's impacting them as well. So I'm gonna turn it over to Miss Natasha so she can go ahead and take us to that next question. Oh, hold on one second, Natasha. You have to unmute yourself. There you go.
I was going to say something. I don't know if you were going to get to this because I'm not trying to segue and lead your show. You know what I mean? But one thing I will tell you is I will tell you who's kind of benefited from this situation during the pandemic. Up and coming artists. Because what happened is there's a lot of artists, like I have a friend named Tunde. They have a company called Love Renaissance where they have Summer Walker signed to them, Black signed to them, and they had an up and coming artist named BRS Cash that just recently caught a viral hit. So what's happening is some of these up and coming artists are like $3,500 to $5,000 artists that, you know, would just be trying to break into the market because of the limited capacities and the promoters not being able to book 20 and 30 and $40,000 artists. These guys are getting more shows. Like BRS Cash is booked 10 times this month. You feel what I mean? Because he's a 5,000, so it's kind of helping Fujianos, these little artists that Gucci Mane's new artists that were kind of on the come up that hadn't reached that 10, 15, 20,000. Because you got to think with the limited capacities, a club owner or a restaurant owner will say, yo, you know what? With the bar money and the amount of people they will let us have in here, I don't mind spending $5,000 on an artist. You feel me? Just to keep the ball rolling. I don't mind doing that. But with a $20,000 artist or $15,000 artist, they're like, yo, it just doesn't make any sense for us to book somebody's menu because there's no way we can get our money back. So those are some of the artists that kind of benefited in the midst of all of this. It's kind of been a gift and a curse. Some people have been cursed, but some artists that may have been harder for them to break into the business, people are sitting on their phones more. You know what I'm saying? So content creators and this, that, and the third, a lot of people like that have kind of benefited from the pandemic.
Yeah, I definitely can agree with what you're saying, where I've noticed that, you know, I think it's decreasing a little bit, and I could be wrong, but, you know, initially, though, March, April, May, we were all stuck and we were just glued to social media and everywhere. So you see a lot of people go viral and things like that. So I want to just kind of ask, and I'll start with Brian, but how are your artists adjusting? How are they mentally dealing with this? I know you said earlier that you noticed that, you know, they have some difficulties here and there, and even though they may be talented, they may have special gifts, that, you know, kind of like you guys, the promoters kind of brought that stabilization because you said the attention spans were short. So how are they dealing with everything that's happening now with not being able to perform, not being able to go out? How are they dealing with that?
Well, I can say from those that I'm connected with have been really humbled. First and foremost, I'm blessed to be able to represent a lot of gospel artists. So in the church world, some gospel artists have been able to maneuver a little differently because thank God we're in the 21st century where we could use a lot of the virtual capabilities that are now offered, to where churches have been limited to no attendance to intimate capacity, where the gospel artists per se have been able to do Sunday morning streams for regular church service to get those typically that are non-churched into, I'm sorry, that's my gate calling. I can't stop it. It's on the house line. So hopefully you can hear me over that.
Yeah, we can.
A lot of the artists are able to stream into churches that do not promote virally or virtually, that would realistically slow down or impact their ability to earn from other sources. So that's one thing that the gospel world has been able to do. Like, say, for instance, Mount Sinai Church in Beaufort, Texas, they might contract an artist just for their morning stream, where it won't impact another church in Alabama that might want them as well. So that's kind of like the pros for a gospel artist. The downside, realistically, on the R&B and more hip hop side, is that those artists are more so, for lack of better words, if you're under a record label contract, then you're a little more restricted, because the content would have to be packaged and or virtually digitally uploaded and or sold. So that you have to be careful with, because the artists realistically cannot generate as much income as they typically would, because either you have to break it down into territories, or you have to break it down to where it's limited access, but not worldwide, because you can only do the virtual aspect so many times before you're overexposed in the market. So realistically, this has been where you have artists that have main international names that have, thank God, been able to go on pandemic unemployment insurance, that have been able to apply for, if their business isn't in place, that have been able to apply for grants and small business loans to float. And a lot of this, you'll be surprised to see that how many people just were not about their business, no matter how big the name is. Their additional representation from their accountants didn't have their business situated where everything was in formation for you to qualify for some of these grants and loans because they didn't have up-to-date taxes. And this has been, I'm gonna say this again, I don't mean to be redundant, but it's been a wake-up call and a reset for a lot of people to understand you're living way beyond your means. A lot of things, self-included, some things are not necessary or a necessity, because now you have to look at everything and think, does this make sense to spend this money when we have no clue, no rhyme or reason when this is going to open? So long story short, a lot of my artists that will say no, if they don't do the whole band and all my accoutrements, then I'm not going. Now they're like, I'll drive myself to the gig if we can get it. I can do the concert from my living room with track, and I don't do track. So it's been humbling, of course, without jeopardizing the integrity of the name, likeness, and or sound. But a lot of people have been humbled to where to say all of this has not been required or won't be required moving forward. So it's been a re-examination and re-evaluation of, is all of this unnecessary expenses, expenditures necessary? And at the same token, this has been a wake-up call to see who is for you and who's not, because you'd be surprised at the people that just need somebody to listen. You don't want anything. You just want somebody to have your best interest at heart to say, am I thinking right? Am I integral? Because this person has been with me 20 years. Now I'm forced to have to make a change in how we move forward with things. Because at the end of the day, loyalty is something that you cannot buy.
Yeah.
And I am a firm believer, and this is, I'm just going to segue just a little bit. The Mousy family, Suleiman's family, he comes from a dynasty of integral, hardworking family members. This is what you two are going to love. The matriarch of the Mousy family is spearheaded by a woman of color who is not only gorgeous, she's intellectual, she's a shoot from the hip type of woman, and she's well respected. And I naturally gravitate to women a little more than I do to men. And you find in this industry, the integrity and the loyalty in the entertainment industry died years ago. And if you find integral, good-hearted people that want to see everybody win, you don't have to worry about dealing with the snakes and dealing with the scum. You know that you can go and say, business is going to be taken care of. And that those individuals in Detroit and Suleiman with having dual businesses in Detroit and North Carolina, value those individuals. And I would tell you, employ him to get his mother on, because she's a wise woman. And she's manipulated this industry and maneuvered as being a woman of color and making people of non-color respect the chain of command. Wow. And she runs a tight ship.
Wow, I love that. Thank you. Now I have a question, and I'm going to ask a question within a question.
Go ahead.
We're doing good though, guys. We're doing good. So why do you say that the integrity within the entertainment industry died a long time ago? What happened?
You know what, Natasha, I can say this. I'm relatively young in age, but I have an old soul. So I grew up with the individuals more so of the Aretha Franklins, the Patti LaBelles, the Chaka Khans, Phyllis Hyman, that taught me early age. They sort of saw that I had a thirst for the hunger. And then also that Bobby Womack was my godfather. So I grew up where of course, we didn't have all the new age things that we have now with the cell phone and Instagram and all that. Camaraderie existed, but back then it was more of a respect thing. Now you have overnight microwave talent, and I'm not going to say this with giving exact names, but like shows like American Idol, The Voice, those shows should be realistically ashamed of themselves, because they take individuals that go from realistically being poverty individuals, welfare recipients, to overnight success, and overnight you win the show, but you're not prepared mentally or physically to handle what's to come. And then you go from being a realistically shopper at a thrift store to having a Black American Express card at your disposal when you don't even know how to write a check.
Mhm.
And then in the next 11 months, there's going to be a new you. So with that camaraderie of your notoriety, either the rails, you go in the gutter, self-destruct, you can't even get a phone call returned because you had overnight microwave success. You're not given anything to build you with loyalty or longevity. Because a lot of people don't know when you come off these shows, your lawyer is given to you, your accountant is given to you, and you're signed to them. They don't know you. Only thing they know is what you can bring in. So where I'm going with this, the loyalty and integrity, back then artists could interview and tell you, it would like you ladies, you're excellent hosts. You know how to dissect and pull an individual into an engaging conversation. These artists now, the record labels, management, they don't teach artists how to interview. They don't teach them how to dress. They don't teach them how to have longevity in the industry. Realistically, and I'm not going to mention names, but you see some of these women that are absolutely stunning to look at. Gorgeous, beautiful faces, hair done, teeth, everything upgraded. But when they open their mouths, you're like, Jesus Christ, how do you talk like that? And that's not what I'm about. I'm about women looking respectful and being semi-virtuous and integral and being able to say, if we all go up, we all go up together. Not it's just my backside or your backside, the ship go down, it's gonna be your backside. I'm the kind of person where we grew up, it's gonna be all of us together.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying in this game now, it's not about I won't stab you in the back, you won't stab me in the back now. You almost got to go into a meeting and come out with a bulletproof vest on because they will manipulate you, stab you in the back, and smile in your face. And that's not what I'm about. You can't be in the entertainment industry now and have a big heart, integrity, and loyalty because you don't find too many people that are with that. Not unless they are either they're Christian or they're older or they were mentored by more mature, integral people because the loyalty and integrity, been gone. Been gone. You'll find it every now and then.
It's kind of like when they said chivalry is dead, and it goes to so many layers and so many industries, entertainment industry, but what you also described, put you in the mind of sports, put you in, here today, gone tomorrow. And that's the ugly nature of the industry. But like you said, where's the nurturing foundation? Where's home? Where is that safety net to go back and connect to? And like you said, that could be, hey, that's a business opportunity right there, Mr. Brian.
Absolutely.
People need this type of university, this type of apprenticeship, to be able to tap in and say, hey, you're a new artist. This is separate from being your agent. This is something to teach you how to handle and maneuver through the business. You know what I'm saying? Because they need.
Yes, and it's just like this because the Mousy family, and I'm just using them as an example because we're on this streaming opportunity together, they're major talent buyers. But the entertainment industry, like if you deal, like I'm more of a boutique, but I'll have great integrity and respect. If you go to like Suleiman, they buy major artists, whether they're current, seasoned, or nothing on rotation, but they still can bring people into the venue. If you go to certain agencies, they will try to use the old school thing and say, well, if you don't come to us for all of the artists, we'll blackball you. That's not the way to go. That family, they have looked out for individuals that are coming up like myself, like Fame, and so on and so forth. And then Suleiman also has dual ability because not only is he a promoter, he also is an executive within a historical arena. And they've been doing this for years. So because of that foundation that was instilled with mother and father, the integrity in that dynasty is synonymous with the name. If you go into certain markets and you just mention that name, they already know it's going to be taken care of. We're not going to have to worry about the smoke and mirrors, or we're not going to have to worry about it being rigged. We know that it's going to be integral. And that's when you just hear certain names and certain elements. Certain artists will say, okay, I'm good with that. As long as I know these key players are involved, we're good. And now, like the new generation, like Fame, you have to surround yourself with integral people because all money is not good money. And it's not always about the money. It's about relationships and it's about integrity and loyalty. And sometimes you just have to surround yourself with people that you know that have your best interests at heart. Because me, if I was a cutthroat person, I would not be sitting in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. I would be in Hollywood and not caring, but I have a heart. and I'm Christian. So I look at things to say, I might not make all the money or not have the name value that I would like to have, but I could rest at night. Knowing that I might not be the best, but I did my best.
And that counts a lot. And there's not a lot of people like a unicorn. There's not a lot of people, last of the Mohicans, so to speak. It's not a lot of people out there that have that level of integrity. And I think it may stem back from, you know, again, we've heard this before, like crabs in a barrel. It's like, you know, why not help me come up? It's not in a direct conflict or competition to you. It's so that I can then support you and then you support me. And we got this network going.
Absolutely.
How to make the network. And a lot of times people get, like you said, the smoke and mirrors, they get into the fame and the look of it. And then they, you know, like y'all are graced for this. So when people look up to y'all, they be like, oh, I could do that. All I have to do is one connect and then I can do what they do because y'all are graced for that and you make it look seamless. But then when they get into it, they realize, nah, this ain't what you want. You ain't built for this. Yes. But if you would have came in up on my wing, I would have showed you what to do, you know, taught you the ins and outs, and then you could have been more successful at it. So people miss that step because they're so quick to try and make that buck.
Absolutely.
And like you said, they forget about the relationship. They just trying to come in on the dollar.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I can't say it enough. All money is not good money.
Nope.
I can only imagine. I'm about to try to put together a revival and bring some people together for convocation. My head hurts for you know, a 2-night, 3-night service, and you guys pulled in bands and I mean, that's a lot of stuff. And so go ahead, Famous, you wanted to say something, but you're muted. You're muted.
I got it.
There you go.
I just want to piggyback off what y'all are saying. First off, I always tell people it's kind of like, I tell them I'm a duck. And I tell them like, yo, okay, you see me cool, calm, and collected on the surface, but you don't realize under the water I'm paddling for my life. You feel me? And a lot of people don't see that in the entertainment business because we're not going to present to you like the phone calls to where I almost lose the insurance or this happens or that happens. I'm going to tell y'all a funny story just because we're all on here together. Puffy had a concert in Charlotte. Suleiman asked me to help him promote a show in Charlotte. And, you know, I'm very big on my name and my integrity as far as if I say I'm going to do something, I'm not just going to take your money and then say, cool. So at first he was like, hey, man, what's going on? Like, this is happening, that's happening. I thought you and your people said y'all got it, right? I say, yo, Suleiman, just let this Puffy concert get out the way and watch what happens. Suleiman called me like a week later, like, hey, Fame, we sold out, man. Remember when you had the Love Jones?
Oh yeah, that was a hot tour. Yeah, that was I forgot you did do that one. I forgot, it all starts running together. Yeah, we did Jordan and Sean.
Yeah, and so but like I'm only like I'm not afraid to say it. I came in when I was coming up in the game. I looked up to Suleiman, and I'm not saying it in past tense. You feel me? I'm saying it like he'll tell you the times when we first met at restaurants, when I pulled up on him at hotels, just because I was so hungry to make it in this industry that I had the humility. So for him to see me do a 3,500 person concert in Cleveland and reach out to me and say, hey man, I'm proud of you. It's different from him because he didn't see just the 3,500 person concert. You feel me? Suleiman saw it, you know, from me just coming, having these meetings with him. And then, so when you earn the respect of your peers, it's a different conversation of like a lot of people in this industry, because I've seen it because, you know, I'm an artist and a promoter. So I play both sides of the fence. I'll see what they call industry plants, and I'll see people that come into business based off nepotism, this, that, and the third, and they can't remain and have stability or longevity in the business because they didn't do the things. It's like skipping training camp in sports.
Mm-hmm.
You can't skip training camp and then come in and think you're going to have an all-pro season. And
Right.
so a lot of these artists are coming in and they haven't had, see, like, I'm going to give you a perfect example. People see Cardi B now, but they didn't see Cardi B hit every hole in the wall club for 2 years straight before Bodak Yellow took off. I know the producer that produced Bodak Yellow. I know his backstory. See, people don't, they only see the success.
Right.
They don't see the legwork. The guy that produced Bodak Yellow produced a project for me in 2012. It's 2020. So when people see me have a relationship with this guy, they're looking at it like, oh man, how'd you meet Jay White did it? Not realizing, yo, bro, when he was still just an up and coming producer trying to figure it out, and we were both trying to figure it out together, I was supporting him, and I kept my face clean, my relationships clean, my name's clean, and my brand clean to get to this point. Because one thing about your name being clean, like these gentlemen talk about today, is that if something goes wrong, you can always make some more money. If you burn people every step along the way, eventually you're going to hit a brick wall.
Yeah.
You feel me? So people are always going to do something for fame, because guess what? I'm only on this call right now because of relationships I have with your brother. And the things that, and my reputation in the industry has superseded itself. It wasn't me speaking on my own behalf. It was people saying, yo, you need to get with this brother, because I tell people this, not to get too long with it in a metaphysical standpoint. If all you do is take from people, what you think the universe is going to do to you?
Right.
If you live your life in a virtuous way and as a servant, and every day you wake up, you're serving others, eventually the universe is going to serve you, and it's going to be karma goes in two different directions. You feel me? So a lot of the stuff that I've come across, I shouldn't even be in some of the positions that I'm in right now. Like, we have a platform. So like I said, I don't want to take up too much of the time, but I'm an orphan. My mom got pregnant when she was 15 years old, and I was adopted by her foster parents. Do you feel what I'm saying? Like, everything I got, I had to get it out the mud, and all of those things strengthened my legs on my journey.
Wow.
To the point now to where, yeah, the pandemic was hard for me, but because of me going through the things I went through in life just to be the man I am, I was able to navigate this pandemic and find the silver lining in it. Oh, well, guess what? I'm able to do business with people that wouldn't have picked up my phone calls, because everybody needs some money right now.
Come on now.
So the people that wouldn't have picked up my calls when things were rolling, they were too busy to do business with you, now are all sitting down trying to figure it out. And so I got people on the phone with me that would have been in the studio and 24 hours out the day, and now we're having real life conversations. People are humbling themselves. People are, you know what I'm saying, having a certain sense of humility. I was able to get my business in order in a way that I've never been able to get it in order before, because people were sitting down.
That's awesome.
I think that's a good point, because that's what, like Brian shared earlier, it's like, you know, the connections, the relationship, strengthening that, and then taking it back to the basics. Strip away all that fluff and all that fame, all that glory, but let's get back to the basis. And the basis was the relationship. If you pull everything else back, do we have that foundation as that relationship? Then you kind of grow from there. So you're right, making those connections is key, and keeping those connections fruitful is key as well. Continue to nurture them.
Yeah, I think that was an interesting kind of, and it's really just kind of making me think about everything as far as like reality TV as a whole, not just American Idol, but all of them across the board. And it's like, it turned people into stars overnight, and not all of them, like you said, but not everybody was successful.
You know what I'm saying?
And listening to you guys now, it's like, you know, the significance of taking the time and growing in something has a greater impact, and it actually, you know, can predict the likelihood of you surviving in the industry. So I think it's, look, oh my gosh, I got so many nuggets tonight. But Suleiman, I gotta ask you, and then I think Vicky's gonna go over one more thing, and because we're having a good time here.
This is some good conversation.
I'm like, okay, one question. Y'all got me quiet, so I don't know what to say now. But Suleiman, I know your audience is a little bit different than Brian's, and you know, so how about your clients that you serve? How they been doing?
Well, on my end, it's been I'm in a peculiar situation. I'm kind of in the middle, because Brian's manager and fame, he promotes and he's an artist. But me, I'm a promoter. So when my phone rings and they call me, everybody looking for some money. Period. Like one way or the other, they want the premium the most and this, that, or other. And we ain't doing that. So, I mean, going through this, it has opened up some opportunities to a lot of acts that I didn't have access to before, crossover acts and this, that, or other. Are now finally calling me. You know, I pitching acts for literally over 10 years. And I'm like, oh, can we get a date now? Because some of the big boys, don't need to call their name, everybody knows who they are, Live Nation AG, are making the offers. And so now they're like, oh, now, yeah, we'd love to play your room now. And okay, well, these are going to be the terms, and we'll see. We'll see what happens after the election, and then we'll go back. But it's and I kind of want to go back a little bit. What Brian was talking about is the hard part on my end is everybody thinks they're a promoter once they sell their first quarter key.
Mm-hmm.
They sell a quarter key of dope, and all of a sudden you're a promoter. And the agents, especially major agencies and urban artists, particularly what I deal with, there is no loyalty. I can start with the artist and get it from the ground up. I can call some crazy names that you wouldn't even believe, and all they care about is. Am I still there?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. All they care about is the biggest offer. Not that it makes financial sense for the promoter, because these guys aren't really promoters. So they'll offer a $50,000 act, $75,000, just so they can stand next to him and take a picture. The promoters done lost $35,000, $40,000, but they indicted. But next time the artists come in, be like, I got $75,000 last time I was in the market. Well, yeah, but you didn't make a dime. So it's really a long-term play. You can't go back to, relationships are everything. You got to keep, as everyone said, you got to keep your name clean. So that way, when things go good, bad, or whatever, that you're all in this together. I have major agencies that have literally kept me in business, because if I go out of business, then they only got 2 companies to deal with. And I mean, their hands are tied, you know what I mean? And at the same time, I can say to them, like, nope, that's what I'm doing now. Oh, no, you didn't want to give me the artist XYZ at this price. Oh, wait till 2021. It ain't happening then either. And I survived the pandemic. I can survive without Gloria Estefan. You know what I'm saying? That's on you. You know what I'm saying? She can come, she cannot. I don't care. But had to make a major pivot. Because I'm not going to sit up there and put my house and my family at risk.
That's right.
At that level. So we've transitioned into some other things. We just got a fleet of vehicles going with doing Amazon runs and this, that, so I can have some income streams coming from other places to relieve my stress level. I'm out there. Well, I ain't doing it now. I go driving box trucks and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Look to the track.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I diversify my hustle. You know what I'm saying? So before it sends me over the top, before I'm on meds, I'm gonna get some different money. You know what I'm saying? Because hustlers gonna hustle, and if your name is good, you're gonna be okay. Because all businesses are the same. You deal with a certain margin. Make sure you got decent terms going into it. And build it from the ground up. So some of the calls when he called me, I was out running. You know what I'm saying? Building a completely different business. You know what I'm saying? Doing what it takes to be successful, because I've ran one for almost 20 years, and my name is going to be everything. My name will always be better than my money.
Mm-hmm. I have a question. Hold on, Vic. Wait. Hold on. So I know, but that was good. So do you think tickets are going to go down when we open back up full capacity? Because it depends on the artist.
It depends. What's going to determine whether the ticket prices go up or down is the capacity of the people the venues are going to be allowed to function within. Mm-hmm. Because if a venue of 3,000 cuts down to 1,500, those ticket prices are probably going to go up just by default, because you only have 1,500 seats to make the money back that you need to make. Because I can't change my margin that much. It probably can go down, you know what I'm saying? But the artist's not going to get what they're going to get at a 3,000 seat venue, you know what I mean? So it's all scale. So hopefully the ticket prices go down. Artist fees are definitely going to have to go down, and more back end deals. I won't get into that, but it's just the reality of it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, what's going to happen? It's going to take the entertainment business. Right now, I'm forecasting until 22 to hopefully get back decent. 21 is going to be. Everybody just want to get the bills and the loans they've taken out, caught up and paid. You know what I'm saying? Forget making a profit. It's just going to be about stabilizing the industry and what it is that we're going to do as an industry as a whole, and how you're going to maneuver. Because I'm not doing any drive-up concerts. I ain't seen one make no money yet on the promoter side. You know what I mean? All that stuff and this, that, other, white, we ain't doing it. And our people gonna be, I ain't taking no vaccine. I'm gonna the first 6 months, then I'm not going over to see Charlie Wilson. I ain't saying
We're gonna let them take it first, and then we see what happens.
you know, I mean, I might dove it down in the fan a little bit with the younger hip hop artists and stuff like that because these kids think they're invincible. You know what I'm saying? They're 21, 22. You can do the Little Baby concert. You're gonna get 10,000 people if the state allow you to. You know what I'm saying? But my core base is changing, so I have to change with the times. If you don't change any business that you're in, as things come up, then you might be out of business.
So when you think back, and this is a great conversation, and like we always say, it definitely can warrant a part 2 conversation because we have really just scratched the surface and we already hit an hour. I mean, but we could continue to talk about this thing because as we see, there is definitely a common thread between mental health and entertainment. But let's think back, that's the therapist in me. Let's think back to one of the most memorable moments that you've experienced in the industry that positively impacted your life and why. So let's go back to when things was probably great and we didn't realize how great we had it, or things were in a different space. Share with us a memorable moment, or, who did you meet, or whatever was that positive encounter that impacted your life. And I'll start with you, King Fame.
It's a moment I always have to share because it's not just about, I don't just do music. I also was trying to get my chops going in the acting world as well. And in 2014, I believe around that time, I ended up being in a movie with Will Smith called Concussion.
Okay.
And I was just doing like feature background work, but we were all on the same set. And one of the things that kind of helped me as far as my ego and humility was that, when we were getting ready to wrap up, first off, I'm on my way to Pittsburgh and I was supposed to be in a main scene with Will Smith and Alec Baldwin. Like it's supposed to be an intimate scene, Will Smith and Alec Baldwin, and it was a snowstorm in Pittsburgh. Whole scene got canceled. So imagine being on a bus coming from Atlanta and you're an hour outside of Pittsburgh and find out that your scene is canceled. Know what I'm saying? So I still say, you know what? I'm all the way out here. It doesn't matter. Mind you, I spent more money to do the movie than I made from it. So between hotel rooms, $200 a night at the DoubleTree. But, I get on set and I just see Will Smith and how he treats people in person. And he's joking with the background actors. I see certain other actors and they have these attitudes and they're stuck up and they won't speak to people. But then Will Smith is entertaining everybody. He's engaging the room. And like right before I got ready to first off, and then, on these levels in Hollywood, being a black man and just getting on set, even as a background actor, isn't the easiest task in the world. They only bring a certain amount of people on just to reach quota, not to get a discrimination lawsuit. So, him seeing another black man, young, up and coming, trying to make it in the industry, when I'm getting ready to leave the set, I didn't want to be that person to like run up on him like a lot of other people were. And so I guess he seen me turn my head and get ready to walk away. And right when I was getting ready to walk away, he cut through the crowd and gave me a high five.
Oh.
And, to me, that just showed, that's why when I deal with artists now that are just getting some new money and they got these egos, you can't tell them nothing. They think they're God's gift to the world. And, I'm talking about from local artists I've tried to manage to artists that are starting to get their first run as being booked artists. I always try to give them the story about Will Smith because it's like, if this man can be worth $300 million and have this level of humility, who am I to have an ego?
Right. That's
what I mean? And the most successful people I've met in this business, the people that are mega uber rich that I've met, had all been some of the most relatable, humble, down-to-earth people I met. It's always the new money people that usually have these egos.
Is somebody on that?
Excuse me?
I think Alema was trying to share, but I think he got froze.
Yeah.
Okay. So as far as to your encounter with Will Smith, that was your most memorable moment, that positive encounter that impacted your life. Kind of share with you on not to have that ego, not to get too big for your britches, to remember where you came from, basically.
Yes, exactly.
I like that.
Thank you for sharing, King Fame. So, Mr. Brian, what are your thoughts as far as a memorable moment that positively impacted your life?
Okay, I will tell you, mine starts off a little rocky. In 1997, I was contracted to book the talent for what was known as the United States' first mass marriage, produced by the Sun Myung Moon and what was negatively known as the Moons, where they would bring in anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 couples, and on that day, they would actually meet who they were marrying. That was part of their religion. And Reverend Moon, who's now deceased, had a vision to where Whitney Houston was to be the musical guest for this mass ceremony. And they told me, but whatever it took, do not come back until the contract was done. So I had a great relationship with the Houston family, with Whitney's publicists. We contracted the deal, and I told them on the onset of this deal, I think you should get ahead of this and release a statement before the press handles you, you handle them. The publicist told me, I got my lane, you stay in your lane. This was my very first $1 million deal in 1997. I was buying my first house with the commission. Okay, long story short, everything that Miss Houston and the entourage wanted in the hotel, from the Ritz-Carlton at Pentagon City, they wanted new carpet, new bed, not a problem, done, paid for. Whitney and her entourage arrived in Washington, D.C. The client's transportation picked them up, escorted them to the hotel. We're now 2.5 hours from sound check. No Miss Houston. They said she's gonna not come to sound check. Her band will take care of everything, and she'll be ready showtime. I'm all good. Band on the stage, sound checking. Dionne Warwick walks over to me because I contracted Dionne to be the host to make everybody and everything comfortable. Dionne walked to me and she said, she's not gonna make it. Literally, I said, what do you mean she's not gonna make it? She said, she's not gonna be able to perform. Literally, I got sick to my stomach.
Oh my goodness.
I said, okay. So I'm a fast forward thinker. Dionne said, well, her band knows all of my music as well. Why don't you go to them and tell them I will do this for $500,000? So you know me, I went right straight in there, marched with them and told them, we're gonna do it. We're gonna still make, because I'm still in my mind getting this commission.
Right.
Long story short, they were fine with it, but the lawyer said no, because if her band hits with Dionne, there could be some ramification for them not to return 100% of the deposit. Okay, then I also had another gospel artist there, well known. She said, I'm not related to any of them, and I got my tracks in my purse. Tell them I would do it for $250. Went in there and they said, no, we'll just go ahead and go with what we had, and we'll just cancel out the musical aspect from Miss Houston's perspective and let Dionne stick with hosting, and the gospel artists and everybody else you had, let them go ahead and perform. Now, this looked like this was turning into a negative situation because remember, this was my first $1 million deal. I was banking on $100,000 commission in 1997. And all picked out. Contract for my new house is going, already done. I was getting ready to get the furniture and everything. Long story short, concert went on. They knew that I wasn't playing any games because their transportation people picked her up. So they knew she was in the city. They knew she was in the hotel because they saw her. Everything was above board. They bought her a $25,000 tiara crown from Tiffany, had it engraved to give to her as a gift. Okay? They still had to give it to her because it was engraved. They couldn't return it. Still did it. In Miss Houston's camp, they were honorable. They sent back all the money when the show had cleared everything. No problems with that at all. They knew that I did what I was supposed to do. So instead of me getting $100,000, they were integral and they gave me $5,000. So there, right then in that moment, it taught me, never put your eggs in all in one basket and never count the eggs before they hatch. But I was still appreciative to them because they did not have to give me anything. And because my attitude was still positive, I got a contract from them the following years when they returned to do the mass marriage in DC, but then to move it to New York. I got a contract and God still blessed, and I still was able to earn, not as fast as I would have with that one opportunity, but because they said, we knew that you did what you were supposed to do. We picked her up, we saw her, you didn't take the short end, give us your backside to kiss when things didn't go out the way you planned for them to go. They still remember that I was still positive. I still executed everything that I was supposed to do in spite of, and then we still built relationship afterward. So the long story, the message for me was never count the eggs before they hatch, and don't put all the eggs in one basket, because you couldn't tell me I was bad. I had everything picked out. I had the furniture, the fish tank, and everything. Everything picked out.
U-Haul was outside ready.
U-Haul was outside. I had to go back and eat humble pie until I had to cancel everything. I had to cancel everything, and I'll come back when I have the money.
Cancel the escrow.
Right, cancel. I'll come back when I have the money in hand. But it was a humbling yet impactful situation that happened, and I never will forget it. I can remember it like it was yesterday. I had my hands in everything because first I never saw over 2,000 people get married at one time and meet their spouse the day of. And the unique thing was I told them, I said, this is DC, this is not Korea. So we're doing this in November. The stadium doesn't have a dome on top. So it's like, no problem. We'll do it by a dome and we'll donate it to the city. So when I tell you it was impactful, yeah, they did everything well and above. So I had a really different respect for.
What was the ethnic group again?
This was Sun Myung Moon, and they were negatively known as the Moonies for their mass marriage. And this is when they first did their first marriage in the United States, so they could actually try to clean up their reputation and let the world know that they were not cult religion, but they were very structured. And it was unique. I've never seen that many individuals running around in wedding gowns, tuxedos, and I had my hands in everything. I found a contractor of color that could provide box lunches for them. So I was on it. Wow. We were moving.
And when did it show up?
She showed up, but she wasn't able to perform.
No, not Whitney. Y'all know I love Whitney.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But they were integral. They sent every single dime of the money back. Of course, the publicist got fired because the press headline was Whitney Houston bought off by cult. And the publicist got fired because I told them, get ahead of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. But that was my wake-up call and my most memorable and positive and negatively, but ended positively at the end as well.
I feel you when you said you got sick to your stomach right there when they said she won't able to perform. I felt that thing right there.
Yeah, I did too. I did.
That's $100,000.
Yes, in 1997, right?
Dude, that's a headliner.
Yes.
That's a headliner. But thank you for sharing, Brian. So, Mr. Suleiman, share with us your positive encounter. That's something that, through the industry, a connection you might have made that positively impacted your life.
Ooh, I've had a lot of positive experiences. Two stand out in my head. I'll run through them both really, really quickly. One was how I got started in the what I did an exhibit when I was my last job after going back to Detroit, getting married and all of that, was working at the Detroit Historical Museum. And I put together an exhibit. I was the marketing manager. I was working on shows and lights, pushing speakers, transportation, all that stuff, learning the business. But I created this exhibit called Techno Detroit's Gift to the World. And to this day, it's probably still the hardest project that I've ever worked on. Because my degree from Central is in history. So I came up with this idea to tell how techno music started in Detroit. Now it's called EDM. And it was started by 4 Black men from the inner city, and it blew up overseas all around the world. And it came back and they do a big festival now it's called the Movement Festival. But at the time it was the DEMF. So I'm sitting in a meeting and talking about, what are we gonna do for exhibits? I said, well, why don't we tell this story da da da. I was like, okay, that's great. Who's gonna do it? I'm looking around. And, okay, you gonna do it. So I work with actual real person who help, do exhibits, and I wrote every word, came up with the concept, name, this, that, other, and I designed it as a traveling exhibit because I knew that the music and Derek May, Juan Atkins, and Kevin Saunderson, and all of them, they're popular in China, in Europe, and this, that, other, but they're from the hood. You know what I'm saying? Same neighborhoods and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That music started in Detroit. So I told this story, and it blew up bigger than I thought it would be. And I got treated like crap by administration. So I was like, in my mind, if I can do this for y'all, I can do this for myself. And, I gave them a proposal to stay on and make sure that the exhibit traveled, designed it in panels and all that kind of stuff. And this, that, other. I was making $32,500 before taxes. And, they told me no. And I said, all right, well, here's my resignation for outright. So since that time, that exhibit traveled around the world. Hopefully it inspired young Black men at Detroit Public Schools that create something new, this, that, other. And I quit. So my last day working for anybody else was coming out of there. That was April 29th, 2003. Wow. And since that time, I've worked for anybody who's been through ups and downs and this, that, and other. But, that was one of the things. And it had nothing to do with R&B. It was techno, EDM. It comes out of another Black music that's popular around the world that we don't get credit for. We got DJs making hundreds and thousands of dollars a night, but it started in Detroit, Detroit Public Schools. And then the second one, and I don't know why this one popped in my head. I probably have maybe 5 real friends in this business, and Brian is one. Just a great guy. Since he ain't gonna tell you he was managing Fantasia and all this stuff when I met him and for years. And he brought me Kanye West. And he brought me this one and that one, but he's a friend that you can call on anytime. But before I I'm very careful who I let into my circle. And another one of my people I consider a friend, because you can have new friends. People always say no new friends, and that's bull, in my opinion. You have to deal with people and integrity. And, you don't trust people and stuff when it comes to contracts. And I know it's business first, because at the end of the day, the bills have to be paid. But my brother had been killed a few years back. And my dude, Clay, who was T.I.'s manager, one of T.I.'s managers, if you ever met with him. And he was one of the only people within the industry. How he found out that my brother got killed, because I don't post and all that kind of stuff. And it's probably, it's 8 years ago, so I probably wasn't on Facebook too much. But that brother came, and he was the only person within the industry to call to see how I was doing, and continuously checked on me and made sure that, I was straight. And for some reason, that moment just stuck in my head, because that's my guy, no matter what, this, that, other. You have very few friends, probably only like 5. Mike Knight, he's one. You know what I'm saying? It's a few. Most of them are behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? We just out there, and we hold each other down. We make sure we are each other good. We call to check on each other, and it feels good to be in a place where I can call some powerful people and get stuff done, and they're gonna take my calls. Hey man, I know you're used to making this, but will you do this? And it's vice versa. But you use that sparingly, but you still can have new friends. You can have new friends within this business. So keep yourself open to that. Keep your mental health together. And feel free to talk to those friends who are within the same industry that you're in. And just offload. Because we all going through the same thing, which is the beautiful thing about this whole pandemic. Everybody's experiencing it, so ain't nobody tripping. Let's just talk each other through it as Black men and Black women, and whatever color, really, and go from there. So it's just two things. So I know you asked for more, so sorry.
No problem. Thank you for sharing. And I think that was what we wanted to hear, just kind of the connection. So thanks for sharing, Sue. Thank you very much, sir.
Absolutely. It's about that time for our full circle moment. This has been an awesome discussion. I've learned so much. I can probably say I've been quieter on this one than any of the other ones because I've been listening. Like you guys y'all got stories, y'all got stuff, y'all got details.
Yes.
You don't know nothing about, which I love. So today, our full circle, what it is just we kind of give a summary and just kind of overview and leave our final thoughts with everyone that's viewing and that's going to view later. And so everybody gets an opportunity to leave those last closing remarks. And I thought that being that you guys are promoters, you have that, direct view and relationship with artists and things of that nature. And so we want to address those that are aspiring to join the entertainment industry in whatever capacity they desire. And so coming from you all, that seems like you guys have a wealth of knowledge and experience in the field. So within the next 60 seconds, and I'll pick you one at a time, 60 seconds. One thing I also learned, promoters, I see why all of you all are promoters. Y'all can communicate for sure. But definitely we want to see what kind of advice would you give for an aspiring artist, whatever that's coming, looking to rise in the entertainment industry. That would be our last question for the night. And we're going to start with Fame. Let's start with you. And you're
new. All right. One of the main things I would always recommend to new up and coming artists, up and coming promoters, or anybody in the entertainment business is put your business first. What happens is in this industry, a lot of times, whether it's an artist or a promoter, they get so caught up in the lifestyle so early on that they never get to actually graduate and get better with their business and grow as business people because they feel like I got to be standing on the couch or I got to have all the strippers or I got to do this or I got to do that. And it gets to the point to where they get consumed by like a lot of times, not to put you in my personal life, we don't got short amount of time. I'm single because most women think that my career is my lifestyle. You feel me? And I tell them, like, I hardly leave the house because I'm working on the business of entertainment. You feel me? So it's like, don't get caught up in the lifestyle of it. Be more focused on your business. The lifestyle is going to be there regardless. You're going to have to be at the venue. You're going to have to do certain things. It's going to be there regardless. Put your business first because that's the thing that separates good from great. Like a lot of these people, you don't put your business first, you're not going to make it.
Thank you. Awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's go to Suleiman. What would be your advice you'd like to leave with our aspiring artists?
From promoting, I agree with Fang. Learn the business, learn all aspects of the business. And that really, whether it's a promoter, whether you're getting into mental health, whatever it is, all the business rules apply. Learn it from the ground up. That way, you know how to budget everything. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about the hype. You know what I'm saying? People get caught up in the hype, they do not last. They mess things up, mess up a whole lot of money in relationships. But learn the business, know what catering costs are. Know that you don't have to provide everything on a rider. Know what I'm saying? Know what the sound and lights cost, you know what I'm saying? And negotiate, you know what I'm saying? Learn those things. And when you learn those things and you get into it and people see you working, the money will find itself. Don't wait to make moves until you have money, or you're gonna be waiting forever. God blesses action. So if you're going, the money will come. People I gotta have 200,000, I gotta have $1 million, I gotta have to know. Just keep going, work the plan, and God bless the plan.
Love
it. That is awesome right there. I love it, love it, love it. All right, Mr. Brian, what would be your closing remarks?
What I would say to artists that are trying to come into the industry is what I would say is first, humble yourself. Second of all, keep God first and do integral business. You need to surround yourself with individuals that you can learn and glean from. And one thing that I always advise artists is if you're artists, whoever inspires you the most and the least, go to every show that you can, whether it's digitally or in person. Watch their craft. Watch how they engage. because your job and your responsibility is, if you're asking people to invest their time and their money into your talent, you need to be able to take them on a musical journey to where they can get away from their problems, where they can say, I really enjoyed myself. Make yourself memorable, where you can come away from this show and say, wow, I feel like my investment was money well spent. That you could think also how you can strengthen your career, how you could further your career. And with a time like we're dealing with now, don't just count on one stream of income. You need to be able to look at diversified portfolios, whether if it's your musical artist, then you need to have another stream. Think of, can you produce? Can you write? Merchandising, get yourself, perfect example, just dropped in my mind. Candy from the Housewives. This woman is a working machine.
Yeah.
And I know Candy. Candy just doesn't sit and let other people handle her business. Candy drives from her home to her office, and she works every day at least 4 hours a day on her business. And another thing that a lot of artists make their mistakes was doing, don't just trust your manager, your accountants, your staff, your entourage. Be hands-on in your own business. You need to pick that phone up, call your manager, call your lawyers, call your accountants, be hands-on. And most importantly, sign your own checks. Don't let your people sign the checks for you. They need to have every spreadsheet needs to go through you when the money does come in, because I'm a firm believer. And not that I'm this big, devout Christian, because God knows my walk and my struggle is deep, is real. I'm a firm believer that God does not bless you for failure and sets you up for failure. You might fail him, but he's not going to fail you. And even when you do fail, it's how you handle the getting back up part. You got to be transparent. You can't act like that you were born with this silver spoon in your mouth, or that things don't hit your doorstep. Because I tell anybody in a minute, I am not formally educated or degreed with this. I've never promoted myself. I've never promoted my services. Other people have promoted, and God has always blessed, and the work has continuously came in. Like now, I might think and I might worry and panic, but I'm not going, like Yolanda says, the battle's not mine, it's the Lord. And I'm a firm believer in that. I am not going to stress myself out. I do things to prepare. Yes, I did go to a therapist. Yes, I do take these little 2 pills all day, every day. I will, and I will continue, because I know that God blessed us to have medical professionals, therapists, and other individuals here on the planet for a reason. Yep. And people like me will keep going to them saying, I need you to help me, and help me now. And that's my motto. I believe that we have the resources, and you have to use them sometime. And I never thought that I would be in a situation like this, but who did? Nobody woke up and said, oh, 2 years from now, I'm gonna need a therapist, I'm gonna need a pill. Well, baby, I tell them in a minute. If you need a little pill to get you going in the morning, put it right here in the palm of your hand. And now I got 2 of them in my hand, so I take them.
Thank you. Thank you. Y'all understand the power of the pill. Thank you, Brian.
Yes. And prayer.
And prayer, yes.
Yes.
Combination
Yes.
of all those things.
PMP.
Yes.
And he's definitely in the entertainment industry. So you've heard it from him, guys. You heard it from him.
Yes.
So now, Vicki, you would you like to share some comments with us?
Yes, ma'am. Well, again, guys, thank you for joining us tonight. Awesome segment. This was a nice surprise, because we knew there was some connection, but we just didn't know exactly what, and you all made it live. It's interesting because you all are visionaries. It's like, when you promote and when you put on entertainment pieces for the community, it starts with your vision, right? Yes. You all are the project manager behind the scenes, making everything come together. And people don't realize that. They just pay their money and come to a show, and they don't realize all the legwork that goes on behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. And one thing that resonated with me, and I just have another level of respect for you all, is it's similar to what Natasha and I are doing now with these shows. It's like putting together the panelists, putting together the topic. What do people want to see? What do people want to hear about? And that's pretty much what you all do in your scope with entertainment. And my hat's off to you, because it is stressful when you're trying to put together something so that other people can enjoy, because a lot of times it's their break, it's their opportunity to get away from it all, to be able to see someone perform a star that they admire, and now they're not able to do that. And so part of your gift is not being used. And again, I feel that all three of you all are gifted in what you do. You're anointed for that, grace for that, because again, you make it look easy. Everybody who has come to the shows went on without a hitch, and little did they know that y'all were the mastermind behind the scenes putting it all together. So continue to take care of your mind, continue to employ self-care, because when this thing moves over, we're going to need you back out there to continue to put these things together, because I love me, Mary J.
Yes.
Everybody that know that's my cousin and my head.
Yeah.
And, you know, I love all these artists, up and coming artists and the old school artists. And so we're going to continue to lean on you all to continue to put these masterpieces together. So again, Kings, thank you so much for joining us tonight and being transparent about your story, your journey in all of this, and still having enough room to offer some words of advice to aspiring artists and aspiring entertainers and promoters, other entrepreneurs. And thank you again for sharing your story about reinventing yourselves, because I know it wasn't an easy thing to do. Once you got your bearings together, got your feet up under you, you know, a lot of y'all have families to take care of. You have responsibilities. Thank you for rolling up your sleeves and kind of taking it like a G and moving forward. So continue to move forward. If we're here, if you need us for anything, I sing a little bit. If you need me to open up for somebody, you know, I rap a little bit, let me know. Give y'all a discount.
Yes.
You know, I got a blue light special going right now. You know, I ain't charging my normal fee. You know what I'm saying? I work with y'all. No, I'm just kidding. But no, seriously, guys, again, thank you for your time. And I know it was late, but I appreciate y'all stepping up to the plate and volunteering to be on our show this evening. So thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. It's been fun, guys. And, you know, I'm reminded, and Vicki gave all the good concluding statements, so I won't have much to say. But just in listening to what you guys said tonight, I'm going to say it in my preacher voice, in my closing. The Bible says that if we are faithful over a few things, He would make us ruler over many. And that's the gist of what I gathered tonight about what you guys are saying, starting off and even just building and connecting with those that you know. Your gift will make room for itself. And so we thank all of you all from sharing from different areas, different states, different towns. And it's been enriched tonight. It really has. And I pray and hope that those that have been aspiring to step into the entertainment really listen at you guys, because, you know, a lot of times their hopes and aspirations are only what's shown to us on TV, the show. They don't know the behind the scenes things, so they don't prepare for them. So we just hope that, you know, you guys have definitely said something that's caused them to want to be more diligent about what they're doing and learning more about the industry as a whole. So again, we thank you guys so much tonight for just participating. We ask you guys if anyone would join us on next Monday night. Our show is going to be about mental health and the salon. So we're definitely going to styling through the pandemic. So it's going to definitely be an awesome time, and we thank everybody for participating. Also tonight at 9 o'clock, we're going to do the after talk, and we'll just review the show for about 10 minutes or so, right, Vicki, and just kind of give our woosahs and all of those moments. So definitely it's going to be fun. But again, we thank everybody for participating. We'd like to thank all of our sponsors, all of our supporters. And remember, guys, entertainment is important. We miss those shows, we miss those things, but we will wait until it's safe. So again, thank you guys, and we just thank God that you guys are still thriving through all of this. Have an awesome night, everyone. God bless.
You too.
God bless. Thank you.